It started with a phone, an old rotary phone, black and heavy, the kind you see in old movies. I found it tucked away in the corner of a dusty antique shop, looking completely out of place among chipped teacups and faded portraits. I'm a writer, or at least I'm trying to be, and I thought it would make a great prop for my desk. A little piece of the past to inspire me. The shopkeeper, a stooped man with eyes that seemed to hold a century of secrets, gave me a strange look when I brought it to the counter. He only charged me a few dollars, almost like he was desperate to get rid of it. I should have seen that as the first sign. I took it home, cleaned it up, and placed it on my writing desk. It wasn't even plugged into a phone line, just sitting there as a decoration. For the first few days, it was exactly that, a silent, stoic piece of history. But then came the first call. It was exactly 3 a.m. The ringing was jarring, a shrill, metallic ring that cut through the silence of my apartment like a knife. I shut up in bed, my heart hammering against my ribs. It took me a moment to even realize where the sound was coming from. The old phone, the unplugged phone. I stumbled out of my bedroom, a cold dread washing over me. The ringing stopped the moment I entered the room. The silence that followed was somehow heavier, more menacing than the sound itself. I checked it over and over. No wires, no batteries, no possible explanation. I told myself it was a dream, a hallucination brought on by too much caffeine and too little sleep. The next night, it happened again. 3 a.m. on the dot. The same piercing, relentless ring. This time, I was frozen in bed, listening to it, counting the rings. 1, 2, 3. It went on for what felt like an eternity before abruptly stopping. Sleep was impossible after that. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the frantic beat of my own heart. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe there was some hidden mechanism inside, a spring-wound alarm that had somehow been set. The next day, I took the phone apart, piece by piece. I'm no expert, but it was all just simple mechanics, gears, bells, wires that led to nowhere. There was nothing that could make it ring on its own. I put it back together, my hands trembling slightly. That night, I decided to face it. I made a pot of strong coffee and sat at my desk, staring at the phone as the clock ticked closer to 3. My apartment was dead quiet. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator and my own shallow breathing to 58, to 59. My pulse was a drum in my ears. Then, exactly as the clock on my computer screen changed to 3 a.m., it began. The shrill, mechanical scream filled the room. This time, I didn't hesitate. My hand shot out and I grabbed the heavy receiver, lifting it to my ear. For a moment, there was only static, a sound like a distant, roaring ocean. And then, a voice, a whisper, faint and raspy, like dry leaves skittering across pavement. It said my name, Alex. I dropped the receiver as if it had burned me. It clattered against the phone's cradle, the plastic cool against my skin. My blood ran cold. How could it know my name? I hadn't told the shopkeeper my name. My name wasn't written anywhere on the phone. Panic set in. I grabbed the phone, ran to the front door, and threw it into the apartment building's dumpster. I watched from my window as the garbage truck came the next morning and hauled it away. I felt a wave of relief so profound it almost made me dizzy. It was gone. It was over. At night, I slept more soundly than I had in a week. No ringing, no whispers. The silence was peaceful again. Woke up the next morning feeling refreshed, feeling like myself again. I made breakfast, sat down at my desk to write, and that's when I saw it, sitting in its usual spot, polished and black and silent. The phone was back. It was impossible. I live on the 3rd floor. There's no fire escape. My door and windows were locked. Yet there it was. I didn't touch it this time. I just stared, a new kind of fear taking root in my soul. This wasn't just a prank or a mechanical glitch. This was something else. The calls continued every single night, 3 a.m. And every night, I would answer, compelled by a morbid curiosity I couldn't fight. The voice on the other end grew clearer. It wasn't just a whisper anymore. It was a collection of voices, a chorus of faint, despairing cries and moans, all layered on top of each other. They would whisper things, fragments of stories, pleas for help, warnings. They spoke of being trapped, of a darkness that had consumed them. They told me the phone was a conduit, a doorway, and they told me it had been calling out for a new voice to add to its collection. I tried everything to get rid of it. I smashed it with a hammer, but the next morning it was back on my desk, perfectly intact. I buried it in a park miles away, but when I returned home, its shrill ring greeted me from my desk at 3 a.m. I even tried to sell it, leaving it at another antique shop, but the shopkeeper called me the next day, furious, saying the phone had somehow reappeared on his doorstep with my address taped to it. It wanted me. It wouldn't let me go. The lack of sleep was taking its toll. I was a wreck. I couldn't write. I couldn't think. Dark circles formed under my eyes. My friends said I looked like a ghost. I tried to explain it to them, but they just looked at me with pity, suggesting I see a doctor, that the stress was getting to me. They couldn't hear the ringing. They couldn't hear the voices. I was alone in this. The voices from the phone were getting more personal. They started whispering my own secrets, my deepest fears, things I had never told another soul. They used the voices of my loved ones, my mother, my father, twisting their words into taunts and accusations. They were trying to break me. One night, the main voice, the original raspy whisper, came through clearer than ever before. It told me it had been a man just like me. He'd found the phone, been captivated by it just like me. He'd answered the call just like me. Now, his voice was just one of the many trapped inside, his soul tethered to the device. Forever, he told me there was only one way to make it stop. The phone needed a new anchor, a new primary voice to take his place. It needed a soul to power it. It needed me. It offered me a deal. Give myself to the phone and it would spare the next person who found it. If I refused, it would begin calling the people I love one by one and drag them into its darkness with me. I haven't slept in what feels like weeks. The sun is coming up, painting the sky in shades of gray and orange. The phone sits on my desk, silent for now. It knows it has me. I can feel its cold, patient waiting. I'm recording this on my laptop, telling this story because I need someone to know. I need someone to understand what happened. Tonight, when it rings, I'm going to answer. But I'm not just going to listen. I'm going to accept its offer. I have to. It's the only way to protect the people I care about. So if you ever find an old black rotary phone in a dusty little shop, and you feel an unexplainable urge to buy it, just walk away. Don't answer. Don't even look at it. Because my voice might be the next one you hear whispering from the other end of the line. The clock is ticking. It's almost time for my last call.